Hello, everybody, and welcome into episode 2 of my sports talk videos. I don't really have a name for these yet. I'm gonna try to get one of these out every week. And last week I went over my predictions for the 2024 NFL season, and this week I'm going to be overreacting to Week One. So I'm gonna go through every single game that happened in order. I'm going to overreact to each team. And yeah, that's basically it. Let's get right into it. So, first up, opening night, Ravens and Chiefs. By the way, if you see me continuing to look over to the side, it's because I have my notes and bullet points on that side. Ravens and Chiefs. With the addition of Derrick Henry to the Ravens, I expected a lot more than what we got. Lamar was fantastic. Likely was fantastic. I don't know why the Ravens thought they didn't need to use Derrick Henry as much as they did. Maybe they're saving his legs for the second half of the season. Maybe they're still trying to figure out what works best between him and Lamar. But he should have been used more. I expected more out of Andrews and Flowers, but at times the offense was just bad, right? You expect a team with a former MVP, a two-time former MVP, a top 3 tight end, and one of, if not the best, wide receiver from last year's draft class, and they were just stopped in their tracks. I don't know if that's more about the offense being bad or the Chiefs' defense being a lot better than I initially anticipated. Either way, if they don't figure it out, if they stay like this, which I imagine they will figure it out. Like I said, they're probably just saving Henry, and everybody has bad games. It happens, right? And I don't know, maybe likely moving forward is going to be their tight end one, and Andrews is just going to move down the depth chart. I don't know. Andrews is still a phenomenal player. So is Flowers. Bateman is one of the better. Let me not say that because he hasn't really had the production, but it's a good team. I expected a lot more. But if they stay like this and they don't get serious, they probably don't make it out of the first round, quite honestly. So that's my overreaction for the Ravens. Moving to the Chiefs, I think they're just going to three-peat. Based off this game, they held a very, very good offense with one of the most dynamic players in the game constantly. This defense, it was a one-score game, but this game was not as close as the score says, truly. The first half, the Chiefs, first half and all the way through the third quarter as well, they held this Ravens offense. They frustrated them. They took away Andrews and Flowers and were like, let Isaiah Likely beat us. And if he does, then he does. And the limited carries that Derrick Henry had, they did very well. They didn't let him get a big run. Now, of course, Henry's not really a big run type of guy. He's more get a bunch of small carries and wear people down. And then towards the end of the game, that's where he starts to take off. But yeah, Chiefs defense was a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Mahomes didn't miss a step. And they had a bad game from Kelsey. Well, not really a bad game. They just, Mahomes just didn't really throw to him. But a game from Kelsey where he's not performing like we're used to. And they still did fantastic. Pacheco ran the ball well. Xavier Worthy is a fantastic player I am seeing now. He's just going to be their weapon X. He's going to be what Tyreek Hill was, where he's just, you need to find him on the field or he's going to get a big gain. Rasheed Rice was fantastic as well. I don't know what's going on with the legal issues he was having or anything like that, but he played, and he played very well. If he's there for the rest of the year too, between him, Worthy, and Kelsey, the Chiefs, everyone knew the Chiefs were going to be scary. I think they three-peat pretty easily this year, as much as it pains me to say that. Now, the Friday night game in Brazil, Eagles versus Packers. The Eagles, I was a little low on the Eagles to start the year. I will be honest, they lost a lot. Their defense didn't look great. The addition of Saquon, I wasn't out on Saquon, but he is injury prone, and that is something that I had kept in the back of my mind. They might compete for the 1 seed this year. I thought it was going to be pretty cut and dry. It was going to be Niners, Lions, and Cowboys competing for the 1 seed in the NFC. But the Eagles, the way they performed, they are right there. Now, granted, the Packers defense isn't phenomenal, but they have a very good offense, which they were able to keep up with. And Hurts looked very good. A.J. Brown still top 10 wide receiver in the league. And Saquon, man, when Saquon is healthy, this team is dangerous. He is dangerous. He is a very, very good dual threat running back, and they're going to compete for the 1 seed this year, and they might go on a deep playoff run if everybody's healthy. On the other side, the Packers. Jordan Love is injured. I believe it was an MCL tear. They came out, I think it said 4 to 6 weeks. I think they're going to fall behind in the race for top of the North. Those 4 games is a lot, especially with the Lions being a walking 10-win team now. And which sucks because this team is very, very good. They're very good. Love is good. Reed looked very good. The defense, there wasn't a whole lot of defense played this game. I don't know if that's just, first game back jitters or just them trying to figure it out, because there was a lot of movement on both defensive sides of the ball as far as front offices go. But they are a very good team, but they're probably just going to get second in the division. I think those 4 games without Love are going to hurt them. So let me see what their schedule is like. So let's say that Love is going to be out for 4 weeks. We'll say he's out for 4 weeks. He'll be back the 5th week. This Sunday they play the Colts, which the Colts looked fantastic without Love. I don't know if they beat them. Titans looked okay for a half of football. I'd probably give that to the Packers, but I mean, without their orchestrator on offense, who knows? Vikings, I think they lose to the Vikings. The Vikings look pretty damn good. And the Rams almost beat the Lions, who are a top team in the NFC. So they could easily go 0 for 4. And then when Love comes back, they have a rough stretch of Cardinals, Texans, Jaguars, Lions for the next 4 weeks. So all those games, I can easily see them losing all of those games with or without Love. And I just don't think that they are going to be able to compete for that top spot when the Lions, they are fully healthy. They won week 1, so the Packers are already down a game. So I don't think the start of the year, I thought they could maybe take the North. Now, I don't think so. And they're still going to be dangerous come playoff time, but personally, I wouldn't want to see them in the first round regardless, but I don't think they're going to get a top 4 seed. So, moving on. Now we got all the Sunday games. Not going to really go in a particular order. Of course, I'm going to do the night game last, but Panthers and Saints. Either we need to give Young more time and they need to give him more help, or maybe Young just isn't the guy. there's been a lot of quarterbacks taken in the top 10 especially the past like 5 years that really have not panned out at all. It wouldn't be surprising if Young is one of those too, but I mean, at one point he was 0 for 2 and 2 interceptions, I'm pretty sure. So like, I didn't watch this game. I quite honestly, I didn't watch this game. I watched the highlights and I don't know. I don't want them to give up on him. Here, excuse me a second. I gotta itch. Oh, I might just say screw it and just show my face, dude. With glasses, this mask keeps fogging them up. I don't know. Ooh. Okay. I'm back. I really hate when teams don't give young quarterbacks time to develop, especially when the team is very bad themselves. I don't want to give up on them just yet, but it's not looking good in Carolina. The Saints. They did play the Panthers, but they looked fantastic. They looked great. The defense was elite, and Carr played like he was a top 10 quarterback. I think they're going to give the Falcons a run for their money, and they might come for a top 4 seed. Granted, it was the Panthers, like I said, but this is just an overreaction of week 1. I think the Saints could potentially get a top 4 seed this year. Next up, Vikings versus Giants. I said, you can watch the previous video, I said I thought the Vikings were going to be an awful team. Like a bottom 4 team in the league, they're going to compete for a top spot. Simply because McCarthy was hurt and half of their good defensive players also got hurt before the season even started. But they made it look like the NFC North is going to be a 3-team race now between the Lions, Packers, and Vikings. The Vikings could compete for that top spot. They looked absolutely fantastic. The defense held up, and Sam Darnold could have a Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield kind of resurgence, you know. Only time will tell, but they could compete for, again, another top 4 seed in the NFC. Giants, on the other hand, somehow looked even worse than the Panthers. I didn't think that would have been possible, but they did. Daniel Jones, I don't know why in the hell they decided to pay Daniel Jones that much money. His agent needs to be in the Hall of Fame to get him that contract. They traded Saquon and paid Daniel Jones, and this is what you get. We all know what type of player Daniel Jones is. All right? We've watched it the past how many years, and it's been nothing good. Truly, it has been nothing good. They made the playoffs. 2 years ago, they made the playoffs, and they beat the Vikings, who everybody going in knew the Vikings were frauds too, so I don't know why they are still holding on to Daniel Jones. They need to move on from him. When they traded Saquon, I thought they were going to trade him and then blow the whole team up, but they decided to pay him an ass ton of money that he does not deserve. And the Giants look awful. They're the worst team in the league. Patriots, Bengals. The offense looked bad, but the defense held the Bengals to 10 points, which is ridiculous. That team, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they're one of the best offensive teams. Like, that's how they beat you. They beat you with offense, and you held them to 10 points. That was ridiculous. If they can keep this up, they can make it hell for everybody else. The Dolphins, the Bills, and the Jets, if this defense can hold Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase to 10 points, I'm sure they could hold those other teams to those amount of points too. And if they're this elite defensively all year, they could make it so, like, their division is fighting for their damn lives. The Bengals looked terrible. Burrow got no good looks. Chase looked like he didn't want to get paid. And the running game was basically non-existent without Joe Mixon. The defense held the opposing team to 16 points, which is cool. But if Burrow and Chase don't figure it out, if the offense doesn't figure it out, they're not going to be competing for a top seed in the conference, let alone their own division. They might get third in their division at this point if they don't figure it out on the offensive side of the ball. Steelers, Falcons, same old Steelers. Elite defense and stagnant offense. It's not really much to say when you kick how many? 6 field goals and you still win. Props to the defense, man. Props to the defense. Justin Fields looked like Justin Fields, but he took care of the ball. Pretty sure he had no turnovers. Let me look. Yep. 17-23, 156 yards. He took care of the ball. He got the ball to Pickens and Freiermuth. Hey, if Fields doesn't need to be fantastic. He just needs to be better than Kenny Pickett. That is all he needs to do. Be better than Kenny Pickett, be better than Russell Wilson. And this team is probably going to get second in the division if the Bengals keep playing how they were playing. That defense is good enough to hold teams to below 20 points, and that offense just needs to score more than them. Of course, that's how football works, but that is a recipe that the Steelers have been using, and they could get second in the division using that recipe. The Falcons. I was super, super high on the Falcons this year. They looked like ass. How do you not beat a team that only kicks field goals? Your defense did its job, held them to 3 points nearly every time they got into the end zone. Every time they got into the red zone, you held them to 3 points. You just need your offense to put up 7 and just keep going back and forth, and you win. Kirk Cousins looked 80 years old. I don't understand how. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. Kirk Cousins, a touchdown and 2 interceptions, 155 yards through the air, looked like garbage. Bijan, 18 for 68, 4 yards a carry. That's not a good running game. 4 yards a carry, 18 attempts, and you can't get 100 yards. That's not a great running game. There is no reason. Ray McLeod. I love Ray. I loved Ray on my 49ers. There's no reason he should be your number 1 receiver. No reason he should be leading your team in receiving yards. And then more to that, there's no reason your running back should be second on the team in receiving yards. You're telling me Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Darnell Mooney is a fantastic wide receiver. Any team would love to have them as his number 2, 3. All right? You're telling me with those 3, none of those 3 are leading your team in receiving yards? Like, what happened? What happened to this offense? This offense was supposed to be fantastic. With Desmond Ridder last year, they did better than this team did. And like, I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. I don't get it. Defense did good though. Defense kept holding them. Defense held them to 3 points every time they wanted to score. So the offense needs to figure it out. And they might lose the division at this point. To the Bucs and Saints, they might lose the division, which would be crazy because they added Kirk Cousins, who last year was in MVP conversations before he got hurt. Moving on. Texans, Colts. Oh my God, I am excited to watch these 2 quarterbacks, Richardson and Stroud, battle it out for the next decade of football. They are such great young quarterbacks. They are exciting to watch, and they compete, which is fantastic. The Texans did not miss a step. The offense was fantastic. Diggs, you knew what you were getting when you traded him, and you got what you traded for. Still a great receiver, top 15, top 10 in the league. You still have You still have Tank Dell, you have Nico Collins, and Joe Mixon was fantastic. That offense clicked beautifully, okay? They might fuck around and get the 1 seed if they keep competing like this. At the very least, the 2nd seed, because as we all know, the AFC North, all of those teams are probably going to split with each other. That's just always how it works out. The Texans might get a top 2 seed in the AFC this year, and they might go on a deep playoff run. The Colts. Richardson might be the most physically gifted quarterback we have seen in a minute. Okay? He's big, he's fast, he is strong, and he has a cannon of an arm, and he's accurate too. I think it was his first touchdown pass. He got hit, he took the hit in the pocket, and launched the ball 60 to 70 yards for a touchdown. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, Richardson is going to be one of the most fun players to play, and that division is going to be one of the most fun divisions in football for the next couple of years. And I said the Texans are going for the 1 seed. The Colts are going to be fighting for them for top of that division. The Colts are legitimately a very good team with Richardson. Cardinals versus Bills. Cardinals looked a lot better than I thought. They gave up a huge lead, but I think in the first half, it was more so the Bills forgot how to play football, and Josh Allen looked horrible. In the second half, they were back to their usual self, but hell, Kyler Murray came back. He looked like his old self that we're used to seeing, just a dynamic quarterback. He can run around in the pocket for like 15 seconds and find an open man. He can beat you with his legs. Just overall a fantastic player. Dortch looked very good as well. McBride still that fantastic young tight end we saw last year. Harrison Jr., he looked like a rookie. I'm not worried about it. Murray missed him on, I think, 1 or 2 plays. He was wide open for a touchdown, and Murray either didn't see him or couldn't get the ball to him the way he wanted because he was running around. But they might beat the Rams for second in the division. I thought they were going to get bottom of the West. They might do better than the Seahawks and Rams this year. If Harrison Jr. Figures it out, they could be fantastic. That defense held up for a while, too. That defense did very, very good for a while against one of the better AFC teams and one of the better quarterbacks in the league. The Bills. The first half was very shaky. I was very worried in the first half, but they picked it up in the second half. The defense held the Cardinals to, I'm pretty sure, just 1 score. Maybe I think just 1 score. And Allen in the second half looked like what we're used to seeing, a top 5 quarterback in the league and a legitimate MVP caliber player. And their receivers, the receivers look good. I made the joke in my previous video that he was throwing to Dairy Queen employees, but Coleman, Shakir, they looked good. They look legitimately very good, and Kincaid is still very good. So they might beat out their division. They might beat out the Jets and who's the other team? The Dolphins. They might beat out the Jets and the Dolphins for first in their division. I got to scratch again. Oh, I could just... Oh. I'm not picking my nose, I promise. My nose was itching. Okay. Titans, Bears. They looked good in the first half. 17-0, they held the Bears, and the Bears' strong suit definitely was supposed to be their offense. On paper, it was their offense. They had Moore, Allen, they got Romeo Odunze, hopefully I'm saying that right, and Caleb Williams like that. Their offense was supposed to be what won them games this year. And then, second half, the Bears' defense locked down and basically scored all of their points. Caleb Williams is the first overall pick to win in Week 1. It was not because of him. That defense looked very good against a young quarterback. And hold on, I lost my spot here. Okay. We need, of course, Williams is a rookie. We need to give him more time, but that offense should have been a lot better than it looked against a hard-nosed Titans defense. Still, you should have put up some offensive points, like some offensive points. And I mean, they probably did, but I was not able to watch every single game, believe it or not. Look at yep, 0 offensive points. 0. Absolutely none. Like, except, pardon me, field goals. We'll count, field goals are special teams. 0 offensive points. They scored 0 offensive points. And the offense was supposed to be the highlight of this team coming into the year. So, they're probably going to finish behind the Vikings. If what we saw week 1 is what we're going to see, they're probably going to finish behind the Vikings in the North and not go anywhere this year. And Titans, they're not ready to hang with everybody else in their division. They're just not. Stroud Richardson looked fantastic. Stroud and Richardson looked great. The next game is the Jags-Dolphins, so I'll get into the Jaguars in a second, but the Titans aren't ready to hang with everybody else in that division. So they're probably going to get 4th, probably going to want another high draft pick and just continue retooling around Will Levis. Jaguars and Dolphins, another blown lead. They look great in the first half. The offense was clicking. The defense was holding that high-powered offensive Dolphins team to no points in the first quarter, which, if I'm not mistaken, that only happened like 3 times last year, just a handful of times last year. And then they could not score in the second half. They couldn't score in the second half. The defense couldn't stop them, and they just ended up losing. They're probably going to get 3rd in the division. Based on what I saw, they're going to get 3rd in the division. If they play like the first half, they might compete with the Texans and Colts. If they play like the second half, they're probably going to be 3rd in the division. Dolphins. You could chalk it up to first half jitters. I don't think Tua is the guy they need in Miami. Like, I think everything people say about system quarterbacks, I think Tua is the epitome of that. But he did his job this game. He found their dynamic offensive players, and they went back to their old ways, getting big plays, and they are going to be fighting for top of their division. And if they get home field advantage in the playoffs, it won't turn out like it did last year against the Chiefs, where they can't do anything on offense. Because if they are in Miami, they are a dangerous team people don't want to see in the playoffs. Broncos and Seahawks. I would have liked Nix to pass the ball more. It's his first game, and he doesn't really have a great wide receiver core around him. Of course, he has Sutton, but I don't think Sutton is like the guy, you know. But the defense looked like the Broncos defense we're used to seeing. They got scored on a lot, so, you know, you could chalk that up to first game of the year. They haven't really figured it out yet, but I still think they're going to finish bottom 2 in their division. I don't think the Broncos are going to go anywhere this year. Seahawks, I don't like how close this game was. I thought the West was chalk, okay? Glasses are fogging up. I thought it was going to be Niners at 1, Rams at 2, Seahawks at 3, Cardinals at 4. Oh my God, can we stop? Oh my Jesus. Oh, whatever, I'm just going to have to deal with it. The Broncos are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and the Seahawks needed to come back, and they only won by 6 points. If they don't stop messing around, the Cardinals are going to finish higher than them. And with Lockett, with Kenneth Walker, with Metcalf, with Jackson, I expected a lot more out of this team. Of course, that Broncos defense, I praise them all the time. That Broncos defense is very, very good, but still, I don't like what I'm seeing out of Seattle. Raiders Chargers, they looked like what I thought. Bad team, bottom 4 team in the NFL this year. Not really anything to be happy about, except Brock Bowers looks like that guy. Brock Bowers looked very, very, very good. I like what I saw out of him. Minshew doing his best with what he has, but that defense just is not. Defense is not great, and Minshew is not the guy to lead a playoff team. He's just not. I know last year happened. Let me not pretend last year didn't happen, but this is a very different team. Chargers looked good against a bad team. I feel like I've said that a lot this video, but they need more from Herbert. The defense looked like what you expected defense to look like, who has all of these big names on their team. The defense did fantastic. The offense scored. Don't get me wrong, the offense scored the ball. But we need more from Justin Herbert. We need more from him if he wants to continue being the quarterback of the Chargers. Ooh. Cowboys and Browns. The Cowboys, they look just like the Cowboys. They look like what I expected. One of the best teams in the league with a high-powered offense and an elite defense. In the first half, we did see some vintage Dak, some bad plays here and there, but he played very well overall. And the rush that I thought was going to be bad was actually decent. Ezekiel Elliott actually did very decent. He looked all right. He looked like he could be their running back 1 for the remainder of the year. The defense tried. The defense tried very hard, but if your offense if the offense keeps getting 3 and outs, not able to do anything with the ball, that defense is going to get tired. And as great of a defense as the Browns are, they could not hold this Cowboys team. And Watson looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the entire league. Amari Cooper, we can see it. He's getting old. This Watson trade and the Trey Lance trade, where the 49ers moved up to get Trey Lance, are going to be looked at some of the worst trades in the NFL in a few years here. We're going to look back and be like, wow, those trades were awful. Watson is not going to go back to his old form. And I think the Browns are just forever cursed. Commanders and Buccaneers. Daniels looked like the best rookie this week. Especially against that Bucs team, who has a very good defense. He looked really good. They got blown out, okay? 20-37. They still got blown out. But the Commanders, they have something to look forward to. Jaden Daniels looked very, very, very good. I would like to see McLaurin get involved more. Eckler, Robinson Jr., like they have a very good offense, but I need to see more out of Daniels. He still looked very good for his first game, and I'm looking forward to what else we can see from him. Bucks, incredible defense, like I just said. The offense, continuing off of what they were and what they have been with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is a walking 1,000 yards every single year, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. The epitome of consistency. Mayfield is continuing on with what he was last year. And Godwin is still one of, if not the best, number 2 wide receiver in football. And they're going to fight for the top of the division, especially out of what I saw from the Falcons. If they get a top 4 seed, they're going to be hell for whoever they see in the first round. Even if they don't get a top 4 seed, they could potentially upset one of the top 4 seeds in the NFC. Rams versus Lions. Somehow people forgot just how good Cooper Kupp is at football. With Puka out, he might be in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. And if they continue on this trajectory, I don't think they're going to get first in the division. But they are whew, they're going to be a nightmare for anybody they face in the first round. Even in the second round, they're going to be just a playoff nightmare. Lions, I don't have a lot to say. They looked like what I thought. The game was closer than I wanted it to be, but anytime the Rams and Lions play, it's always like that. It's a really hard-fought game, one-score game, everything like that. A great offense, an elite defense. They're fighting for the number one seed in the NFC, and they are looking towards their Super Bowl trophy. Jets versus 49ers. Rodgers looked good in spurts. The Niners defense was suffocating, and with some miscues, the run game was non-existent. It was a tough watch. I'm very high on the Jets this year. The 49ers are just a fantastic team. They still looked all right. Like, they gave the 49ers defense hell sometimes. Like, hell, their first score, they just walked down the field. Really, they walked right down the field, got whatever they wanted. Rodgers looked like vintage Rodgers, but it wasn't enough. I'm not giving up on them yet. They're still going to be a top 4 seed in the AFC, in my opinion. The 49ers. Yes, I saved my team for last, just so if you guys don't want to hear me talk about them and glaze them, then you can just click off the video. But please don't, because I have 1 subscriber, and I would like it if people could watch the whole video, because it would help a lot tremendously. But, oh, baby, my 49ers. Let me tell you something. The offensive line, who is a bottom 10 offensive line without Trent Williams there, bullied that fantastic front 7 of the New York Jets. Absolutely bullied them. And Jordan Mason is a fantastic running back. I would not be surprised if his contract is up. He's a free agent, and he's a number 1 running back on a team somewhere. Jordan Mason is legitimately that good at football. I'm going to be honest. When I heard McCaffrey was out, I was worried because, like I said, the Jets, they are a very, very good team. They are a very, very good team. Without McCaffrey, that's a lot of our offense. That's a lot of what we want to do. But Jordan Mason stepped in. Shanahan stepped up. The defense stepped up. They're like, all right, we don't need McCaffrey to win. We might need McCaffrey to win the big games, but we don't need McCaffrey to win. All right? It's not McCaffrey and the 49ers. It is just the 49ers. Okay? The defense, after giving up that one drive, locked in and overwhelmed Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense. Purdy was very, very shaky to start. I was worried. He was looking rusty. He looked scared. But he looked like the Purdy we are used to seeing after a little bit. A very great quarterback. He makes smart decisions, and he's accurate with the ball. Ayuk needs to get in the swing of things. This is what happens when you miss a whole offseason. You look bad, unless your name is Trent Williams. You miss a whole offseason. This is what you're going to look like. All right? You got paid all that money. Come out and show us that you're worth it. All right? And if the Jets defense couldn't stop Jordan Mason, other than Shanahan, who is going to stop McCaffrey and this team from walking to a Super Bowl title this year? Of course, maybe that's a little biased glaze, but this is an overreaction to week 1, and the 49ers should walk to a Super Bowl win this year. That is all the teams. That is all 30 teams. Those were all of the games. If you're still watching, I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment what you want me to talk about next, subscribe just so you don't miss an upload, and I will see all of you hopefully next week. Peace out.